Look who's back. And now I can't even, yeah. Look who's back. Man, I'm terrible at lyrics and
Okay.
stuff. I'll leave that to you. I won't do any of the singing. Hello, people. Hi.
Hot takes
It's,
back.
yep.
Yep,
Yeah.
there you
Hot
go.
takes back. But anyhow, guys, hello out there. It's Larry and Phil. We're back again and striving to get our voice heard on this big bad internet. Tonight we're gonna what? We're gonna
Where
catch.
where is it you're joining us from tonight, Larry?
Oh yeah. Well, since our topic tonight was gonna be Platner, I figured I'd come from Maine and Stephen King's house. And Stephen King's house is always a stormy night. You can't have a nice day at Stephen King's house. Yeah, so we're hanging out up in Maine and with Stephen King. They probably keep showing up every now and then, yelling at me and like crashing out, and
Really?
kind of weirds me out. See, here he comes again. Look at him back there, just back there crashing out. All
You're
right, bro,
loitering on
listen.
his property right
No,
now.
I am on the sidewalk. Look, see, he's yelling. Yeah, he's screaming at me now. Get off my lawn, maggot. That's what he keeps yelling at me, bro. I am out here. Just
It's
go,
public
go.
property. You're right. You're right. That's
Yep,
public
yep, yep.
property.
It's
He's
okay, old
mad though,
man.
'cause our boy
He's
Platner, he's under some fire up there in Maine. He's coming under heat. He's the
it.
target of the big mean establishment right now. Okay, so he's got all the knives coming out for him, and the left is convinced it's all because of Israel. Because of course everything is because of
Yeah,
Israel.
yeah. Everything's
Far
the
left,
Jews.
I should, I
Yeah,
go in too hard on the left that people are going to start thinking, well, no, it's just two MAGA guys. No, I'm the shit lib, okay?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
the
yeah.
it's the Hassans and all
Hey,
that that
I'll
I'm hating
yeah,
on.
I'll call out the Jew people on our side when appropriate. It just happens to not be appropriate tonight. They have no dog in this fight.
Jewish question Venn diagram where those motherfuckers are overlapping up there on the horseshoe. That's where we're fucking dissing
Al-
on.
Although
And on
they've
that note,
been I was just say they've been quiet about that lately because they've all been hanging out in Russia. I just saw yeah.
Candace
So they're
Candace
on
was
a
just
whole
over in Russia.
yeah, they're on some whole new vibe. I don't know the details of it because I don't dig deep in that land, crazy land. But yeah, so they're kind of like on a new tip. I remember Fuentes was saying that he's going to take a break from it, that it's on it, that the Jew stuff's on its way out. And Ian Carroll was going to be like, was going to turn into like Russell Brand and be all hopeful, I guess. I don't even know. So I don't
Journalism
know
or
what this.
something.
Yeah, I don't know the state of the retarded right currently. I will check into it by our next show or when it becomes
I know
appropriate.
last weekend we might have mentioned this at some point. We're gonna have to get some coverage of it. Anna Kasparian was on Candace Owens's show, so there was at least a little bit of crossover going on in there.
Yeah,
So yeah, no,
I
we'll definitely we'll have to check in on where that overlap is happening.
sounds good to me. But tonight we're talking about Maine, and we're talking about Herr Platner. And so, in a up, up. It's
There
just
he
a salute.
is.
It's just a wave. He's just waving. See, he's mogging me. It's just a wave. It's a wave.
Right,
Man, you
exactly.
don't know how hard that was. Grok does not like the term Nazi salute, and it does not like the term toten for the tattoo. So he's got a Pirates of the Caribbean tattoo on his chest.
There you go. There's something. I
No Totenkopf.
of all of the AI like image generators, you would think Grok would be the most,
Yeah,
white nationalist aligned, but maybe
yeah.
they had to really
I had to trick
balance
it.
out.
I had to put
Yeah,
a picture in with the picture of Elon, and I had to put waving like the man in this image. I had to keep it as far away from certain terminology.
right, so that it wouldn't pick up exactly what you're trying to
What I
go
was
for there.
trying to
That's
get. So that's why it still
yeah,
does look more like a
wonderful.
wave than a proper salute, but I didn't have
I
time to
just like
like
that he can
needle it
check
down.
in on the coverage.
Yeah,
He's probably
yeah.
not very happy about a lot of this, so I want to hear
And
from him from time to time on
yeah,
that.
mostly it's this sexy time stuff anyway that's getting him in trouble. Everyone, you got to remember that whole Toten Court is old news. So, all right, onwards and upwards. Who are we listening to first?
And it's something that you sent over to me. It's being commented on left and right as far as anyone who's kind of talking about the Plattner thing on Twitter is Kyle Kalinske is going to the fucking mat for our dude. He is, I believe he said he wouldn't care if Graham Platner fucked his mom, and he would still vote for the guy. It might have been sexted his mom. I don't know. The details are hazy. So Kyle Kalinske wants to get cucked by Graham Platner or some shit. So we're gonna go with his video to kind of get a perspective of how the far left is taking all this in. Um, I will ask your opinions on. You know what? No, I won't. I don't care what you think about Platner. I don't care what I think about Platner. We're just going with the takes here. I was, yeah.
Here we go
We'll just
again,
let
y'all.
Kyle
Here we
Kalinske.
go again. So we
Is
have
this coming
another
through?
scandal involving Graham Platner.
With
A
no
bunch of
video.
people are
We
working
got audio, but
overtime,
no
desperately
video.
trying to take this man down. So take a look at this. Maine Democratic Senate frontrunner Graham Platner engulfed in sex scandal after wife alerts campaign to explicit messages with up to 6 women. Okay. So the claim here is that Graham was caught sexting about 6 different women. I'm going to give you some specifics in a second. We have his wife came out and addressed this. He has also come out and addressed this. But let me show you this. So the person who got this information, okay, they were told this in confidence by the wife. The wife went to one of the staffers and said, hey, is this going to hurt Graham? Because, like, I hope it doesn't, and I don't want it to. But there was some infidelity, and there was sexting with up to 6 different women. And the person was basically like, you can trust me with this information. Then immediately went and squealed. Okay, so Morris Katz says, it's no one's fucking business what happened in Graham and Amy's marriage before he was ever a candidate for office. There should be no place in our politics for incompetent, opportunistic operatives who violate privacy, betray trust, and prioritize vengeance over decency. Rebecca Katz says, also, a really special place in hell for the kind of staffer who says to the candidate's wife, you can trust me, and then turns around and tells the world. In fact, look at this. In a statement released by the campaign, Ms. Gertner suggested that she had been betrayed by Ms. McDonald. Gertner is Platner's wife, okay, saying she was deeply hurt and bothered by the invasion of our privacy. I confided deeply personal details about my marriage to someone I considered a friend. She said, I trusted this person with the most private chapter of our lives, the early days of our marriage before any campaign was on our mind. Our marriage today is stronger than ever before, she added. I know that the man I married and the husband he has been to me on the best and the worst days of my life, that hasn't changed and it won't. In other words, his wife has forgiven him. His wife has moved on, and a former staffer decided, let me try to take down Platner by releasing this information anyway, betraying the trust of Platner's wife. Now, here's his wife, Amy. She came out and she addressed this. Here's what she has to say.
Hey, everyone.
It's a perfect pause.
Yeah, and to do some transformative. We don't want to just rewatch a show, but also I have a couple of things to add. What do you think the motivation of the staffer was?
I was just going to say there is no mention at all at where it is early in the campaign where this was brought up to the staffer, and now when it's come to the like there's completely glossed over. I have no idea.
Interesting question.
Is there some
The fun
scuttlebutt
fact
on
of
it
him
out there that I could?
of his silence all day. What day did this break? Saturday? Was it a Saturday it broke?
Because her
I think
statement came out first, which is an interesting.
yeah,
Again, we break down
He
takes and
used his
how this
wife
is
as
all
a shield.
communicated.
Was the
Well, the far
take.
left does love Hamas. Yeah, exactly. So I'm sure that that was
Human
the
shield.
take.
I
Right.
yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and yeah, again, the sex stuff doesn't matter. Although it did matter a whole lot with Trump was with the porn star, but it only matters it's different this time with the capital
It's
D. All right.
right. But the exact one. What's so funny to me is someone as a shit lib. How often I'm going to hear themes of, yeah, but I mean, in the grand scheme, you just got to buckle down and vote for someone who you know is going to make the world a better place at the end of the day. When these are all the people who Holocaust Harris there was no way they were going to go to bat for this woman. When it's like, well, now you don't want power, you want to endlessly critique power. That's what the far left is all about.
It's Amy.
But yeah, no, here's
Far right
again,
as well.
aim
Far right as well. And I just want to make one
right,
last comment when he
because that's
said,
easier.
we got to vote for him for decency, even though we have to. He did undecent behavior. but it's this is
Right.
the choice for decency. I
It's
just thought that was funny.
it's the least undecent, most undecent. It's the best way to go. It's
Well,
the least
I
of
wanted to
two
make a
evils.
well,
When
Susan
again they
Collins.
hated.
Susan Collins is a total Nazi. I mean, you think Trump is
Yeah,
bad?
right.
Susan Collins is the worst of the worst. I mean,
Oh,
you have to put up
absolutely.
anything to defeat that woman because she's
Goose
dangerous.
stepping Collins, they call her. Goose
That's
stepping
I heard that.
Collins. Oh
I
yeah.
a
heard that.
statement today, and oh, sorry, I'm
Or
getting eaten
say
by
it.
bugs. I wanted to make a statement today in response to a couple of news articles that are out there about my marriage to Graham. If anybody knows me and Graham personally, you know that we got married in 2023. We live in Sullivan. We've got 2 dogs, and we love each other deeply. So it makes me really angry, disappointed, and I find it really shameful that there's a group of media outlets and people who are willing to spread gossip instead of talking about real issues that Graham is running on, like healthcare and education and childcare. I'm walking up and down my road right now, and this is like my 20th take. This is very hard to do, but I just really wanted to make sure that everyone knows that Graham and I have a great marriage. Being married is hard. Being newly married is hard. Being newly married and going through infertility is hard. Being newly married, going through infertility, and a Senate campaign is hard. I don't even know if I have the right words to describe what we've been going through, but our marriage counselor helps. My personal counselor helps. Graham's personal counselor helps. And we work on our mental health every day. No marriage is perfect, and I don't want a perfect marriage. I want my marriage, and I want to be married to Graham. Sorry, black flies. I knew the man that I married is wonderful and dynamic and probably a genius. I knew the man that I married had been through an immense amount of violent, active combat, and he's been
I didn't realize how much of this was just
been in
true
therapy for
statement.
years.
But
Yeah, it was
fair.
her
I just
20th
I
take.
admire the fuck out of
Took her
him.
20 times.
So when there are news articles about our marriage, it's just extra shitty. Can I say that online? I hope I can. It's extra shitty because people in Maine want affordable gas. They want to be able to see their doctor when they're sick. They want to be able to send like their kids to a nice school, a nice daycare facility, and raise families the way that they want to. So I think I'm feeling angry today. And I don't normally make public statements, but it's really important for me to tell all of you out there, especially people who are voting in Maine, that I think it's shameful behavior to spend time and energy and resources on negative ads and negative stories on Graham when all he's trying to do is improve the lives of people who work for a living. And that's it. He doesn't have any other agenda, which is what I think people are trying to dig up. And this is a long video, so I hope my editing team isn't too frustrated with me. I hope that everyone's having a good Saturday.
What is there to edit?
Graham and I really
was
care
about
about
to
the
say-
state of Maine. We really love it. We were born and raised here, and I think we deserve better. I think Mainers deserve better.
So that's Graham Platner's wife.
I'm old enough-
Any thoughts before we get back into
I'm
Kyle?
old enough to remember Clinton "Stand by my man" or "Stand by your man," and so she gets the "Stand by your man" award. I mean, I have nothing much to say. It's PR. She came out to cover for him. I could imagine the conversation. Okay, honey, you know you fucked up, right? You know you fucked up, right? You got to put a video, baby. You got to put a video out. You know you fucked up.
For the record, if anyone at Spotify is watching, this is if you signed us to be a podcast. Why we could come in on Tammy Wynette, "Stand by Your Man." We could go through the old catalogs, all these tunes that don't get the play that they should. We would put them to work here at the Daily Hot Take. But yeah, no shit. That's the "Stand by Your Man" award.
And real quick, I
is
wanted just
quite
to
a
make
take.
this
There's a
note.
hot take from Larry. Really,
Yeah,
that's
and
I like
this is very
handing
important 'cause
awards out.
she mentioned the infertility. So share my screen real quick, because this is very important. Platner had to make sure that that this got out there too. This was the time that he had to remind everybody that he has great sperm. It wasn't his fault that they're infertile. So that was the joke that was going around the right wing. This was passed around quite a bit over on the right wing when he came out and on the podcast or during an interview and had to let everyone know it wasn't his fault. The infertility wasn't on his side. He has great sperm. All right, we can head back.
Fair enough. Let the record show.
Let the record show.
Let's see what
Addressing
Kyle
it.
thinks.
We also have this. The ex-Platner aide who publicly leaked this stuff to the New York Times is pulling down $9K a month from Jordan Wood, a Maine 2nd District Democrat who has endorsed Platner. Okay? Well, guess what? She was immediately fired as a result of this. Immediately fired. What Democrat wants working on their campaign? Somebody who is actively looking to undermine you and take you down, right? What Democrat will want to hire somebody who has a track record of undermining and trying to take down people that they worked with, right? Who would want to hire that person? Well, now she's out. Now she's gone. Now it would be insane for her to work in Democratic politics. Any Democrat who hires her at this point is asking to get all their shit leaked no matter what, right? That's what you're begging for. That's what you're asking for. You ready for this? This is awesome. Ready? So
Wait, just to pause there, how much of his audience are people who hire others for campaign? I don't know. It's such a weird
It's a
thing to
shout
really make
out
a
to
point.
maybe it's a like if a Democrat hires her, then be warned because they're establishment.
Yeah, or right, yeah, that is definitely my take. Right, is that outsider? You know, it's the just opening your mouth and screeching. What's his name from Body Snatchers? Yeah, no, it's you cannot trust this person now. Um,
Yep. Oh, it
what
definitely
again?
gives
I
put
I have no
scarlet
idea.
letter on their chest.
I would definitely, obviously, I would fire them too if had them working in any capacity at a campaign. Absolutely, because this is someone who leaks information. It's to me, there's still like this big question mark of like, well, what happened? What happened in between again when the what's her name? Because
Yep.
she has a different last name, came to him and said, hey, there are these. What happened in between? Why is it coming out now? You know, like it's fascinating because it's not as if during because Mills was still viable at that point. So like
Yep.
it
That's
what
where
is
the
it that I don't
some are
know.
claiming 4D chess going on. Because remember, she only suspended her campaign. She didn't end her campaign.
Well, yeah,
She
that's pretty
only
standard though, right?
yeah.
To just suspend your camp because you
Uh,
also have like all these debts that you have to pay off, and there are weird ways that
It could be.
campaigns like
It could be. It could be.
I think it's
I'm
pretty
just taking
standard
note.
to
Yeah, I'm not saying I
yeah.
subscribe to it because I do know. But yeah, I'm real big on if it's a
But do
cigar or
you
sometimes just a cigar. But that
Your
is the
it
thing.
right, true. Is your take that this is a hit from the Democratic establishment or the Republican establishment?
It's well, the Republican establishment wouldn't be causing waves in your area. Like I said, all the stuff about the tattoo and some of the other stuff never ever broke the bubble. Also, look at the outlets that released it. How many Republicans are in the New York Times? How many Republicans are at the Atlantic?
Right. So I
Those were
guess
the
why
two
didn't it
main
come out
sources.
earlier? If this was like a an insider who had the drop on this like juicy information and knew legitimately, oh, this is something that's going to come out against this dude later on, why would they not drop it earlier?
That's why I would say it's probably an own team thing. They want him out. I think they want him out. Again, what's also going on in the larger political sphere is and we kind of spoke to this earlier before we even started streaming. The Republicans are using Platner and Tallarico like the Democrats used Todd Aiken in Missouri, and boy, I wish I could remember her name, but the chick who had to make a whole video or had to make a whole commercial saying she wasn't a witch. And they would paint every candidate up and down the ticket with these crazy Republicans. They're just too crazy. Look how crazy they are. Well, now you've got, Jesus is non-binary, or God is non-binary, and tattoo kick user, and they're being used to squeeze candidates in other areas.
So if you had this Oppo research that we're saying is coming from the establishment left, why would you not use it earlier to make sure Mills beats Platner and doesn't get this huge lead?
Yep.
They knew
Oh,
early on that they delivered on a silver platter the story that's now apparently breaking through a bit more than like some Reddit posts, because it feels it definitely is much more personal. It's if it is the establishment looking to just stab him now and make sure this, why wait until he's going to be the candidate and he can definitely be used to paint everyone on the left that way? I guess why not
well,
earlier?
that's why the Republicans wouldn't use it. That's the rumor. Right now, the rumor is there's something a lot worse hanging over his head. And we even
Republicans
have a
have.
text from K
And
File
my
that the
question is
senators are
still
worried about.
just why not earlier? What
Yeah.
happened? What happened? I'm just so curious. I don't know.
Could be those insider polls. It could be them polls, because I think in the end of the day, I think Plattner running helps Collins. I don't think Collins wants Plattner to go anywhere. If she had a vote in this whole situation, she does. She'd keep him right where he's at. I think she's very comfortable running against him.
I think I that's we'll let Kyle give a take too.
Yeah, and the
New
only
York
thing I would say,
Times put
about the timing is just that the cutoff date is the second Monday of July or something, the middle of July.
Yeah, middle of July, right?
And
Okay.
once he's locked, he's locked. The party can't replace him. So if there was internal pressure, if they want to put someone else there, now would be the time to apply the pressure
Okay.
to not run.
So got you.
The thinking.
Fascinating, huh?
thinking.
The midterms are coming up down the pike. We're so close, man. This
breaking
could be
news:
great.
Platner's past
This is so
sexual
much-
texts had worried his Senate campaign. Okay, they put breaking news. Adam Johnson says, fun fact, the New York Times hasn't had a breaking news headline about a bombing in Gaza, 1,000 killed by U.S. and Israel since October 2025, or Lebanon, 3,400 plus killed by the U.S. and Israel since October 2025. Let's repeat that. October 2025 was the last time they had breaking news about any attack against Gaza, as an ongoing genocide is happening there, right? Attack against Lebanon now is an ongoing genocide.
Whataboutism still a thing? I mean, what's this got to do with anything?
Because
What does that have to do with anything?
yeah, with the price of tea in China. Yeah. Because it everything has to underline that the establishment is crooked and wants you to it's yeah, I mean, you already know why.
What is
You
happening
rhetorically
there?
asked that.
This shows you their priorities, right?
This is
Here's the thing. Why is this coming out? Why are they talking about? I think you all know. I think you're all aware as to why this is coming out about Graham, why they're going after Graham for this. Washington, D.C. is a demonic, satanic, disgusting place. The Republican congressman, former Republican congressman Madison Cawthorn said casually, he's like, I was invited to orgies like all the fucking time. The Republican will come up to me and be like, you want to come to the
Am I watching a Q influencer from 2019? Because that's literally word for word what you would have heard from, what was his name? X22. Or I'm trying to remember some of the big Praying Medic. Some of those big Q influencers. That's literally citing Cawthorn in the orgy or whatever, in the orgies. And DC is cesspool of, anyway. It's like a time warp for me. It's just now it's over on the left. But that is Q talking points. Circa 2018-ish. 2019.
I can weaponize them now. Then it's all fair play, you know?
orgy tonight. There's all sorts of degeneracy. They're doing all sorts of drugs. They do like the eyes wide shut shit where they wear the masks and everybody fucks each other and they fuck each other's wives and all sorts of wild ass shit goes on there. We know there's a track record. Donald Trump is a pedophile and a rapist. He's had so many sexual assault, sexual harassment, sexual abuse, rape claims against him over the years. There's a literal entire Wikipedia page dedicated to it. 27 different instances, at least 27 different instances. They are covering for a child sex trafficking ring. The entire Republican Party is in cahoots to protect the child sex traffickers. Okay? Who are we kidding? Pedocon theory is a theory like gravity is a theory. Every Republican is actively cheering the carpet bombing of little girl schools in Iran. And I'm supposed to say I'm done with Platner because he had consensual affairs years ago. I'm supposed to say that's a red line and now I can't support the guy? No, the reality is you and I both know exactly why they're coming after him. Why are they coming after him? Because he says shit like this, which means there's a lot of powerful interests who are trying to take him down. Listen to this.
There's a proposal, which I think is a really good one, which is that we should never tax someone into poverty. That if you're hovering right at the poverty line, that if you have to pay taxes and that now puts you below the poverty line, we shouldn't do that. I agree. I think that's a very, very good and fair idea. We should backpack into the real world. Of course, you're a greedy person.
This is what happens when you go after powerful interests. This is what happens when you go after billionaires, when you go after the Epstein class, when you go after the Israel lobby, when you go after the military-industrial complex, when you go after the corporations in this country. They're not just going to let you waltz in there. They're not just going to let you get power and actually use your power to crack down on them. They're not going to let it happen. They will try anything and everything. They will destroy you before they will allow you get some power to raise their taxes and give people healthcare and give people education.
So this is where everything is going to, in my mind, everything lines up with the, this might have been before we started recording. We mentioned before the 2016 Trump takeover, so much of the establishment attacks on him just instantly reinforced that he would be the people's guy. Like if the people don't trust the establishment and establishment attacks X, I like X. You know, that's just in this kind of populist environment, that's just naturally where people's inclinations are at.
Oh, I definitely see comparisons between the two.
Crossover.
The difference is the GOP establishment was much stronger to resistant MAGA, and now we're facing the final battle. And they're incredibly weakened. But they're at the beginning. They controlled his whole Trump 1.0. His whole administration was all rhinos. He had none of his own people in. So that's the difference. And the Dem establishment is weaker. No one trusts the media. Schumer's geriatric and kind of out of it. Hakeem Jeffries, I'm sorry, he's a dolt. The guy is no Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi could crush people with a look. Jeffries does not have that power. She would keep everyone on message and in line. He does not have that same talent, that same ability.
Yeah. But yeah, no, definitely. There's still the that overlap of establishment attack means good
and end the wars. They just won't allow it.
And again, very similar to Trump, in my opinion. People can attach whatever it is they think exactly is going to fix what's at the root of the issue. They can just kind of attach to them. That's exactly what Platner's going to do.
Okay, and that's why this is happening. And by the way, I'm sure they're going to dig up more dirt. I'm sure they're going to get more specifics. They might have some direct lines of sexting that went back and forth. Let me say to y'all right now, I don't give a shit. I don't care. You can't make me care. In fact, you have people ready for this? Nominal liberals, so-called liberals, and I use so-called very specifically here, who are now coming after me for defending Graham. They're saying that, they're anti-Graham. Okay, well, if you're anti-Graham, that means by definition, you're pro-Susan Collins, which means by definition, you're pro-MAGA holding the Senate, which means you're...
So everything in that line of logic is all reactionary. Very, to me, similar to the rise of MAGA, was very reactionary to woke politics. I feel like this dark woke is what they've tried to term themselves. It's just reactionary.
I've heard that once or twice.
Yeah,
I've heard that term. Okay, go on.
Right, and I just heard it recently that it's been around for like a year that the far left has tried to use like dark woke as like a thing. But it's what I'm hearing is completely reactionary. In the same way that establishment Democrats have, through the entirety of the Trump era, been completely reactionary. Blue, no matter who. You got to think of everything's the most important election ever. You have to, up and down the ballot, vote blue because you have to stop the fascist who's going to take over America. And this is the dude who is like trying to get me to doubt that the whole time. Now using that same mentality, like everything's in a fucking funhouse mirror in this motherfucker. And I don't know how to not lose my mind in this shit. It's crazy. It's just fucking nuts.
And also there's a flaw in his logic because right now she's still not up against Susan Collins. Like I said, that date is there and people are aware of it. And if they think he's a bad candidate who could not only sink Maine and just lose Maine outright, but is also maybe dragging down others across the country, I mean, there might be establishment thinkers. Um, let's go ahead and we'll finish with him, but then I'm going to
Yeah,
ask
yeah.
you where other people in your sphere, like where are the Padros
And
coming at this from?
I
Where
honestly,
are
before we even get into anyone else in the sphere, this is the other clip because I'm about done with Kyle. Well, you know what? I'm gonna let him go for a little bit more to kind of underline because I did. There were at least one other. There's one other bit
You're
I
not a
want to get
Democrat.
into.
You're not a liberal.
But
You're
hold on.
certainly not a fucking leftist. What are you? What are you? Are you somebody who's so obsessed with norms and decorum and holding Democrats to a higher standard than Republicans? That's the thing that drives me the most crazy, is that I refuse to live in a world anymore with two different standards. Donald Trump can say and do whatever the fuck he wants all the time, nonstop. Never dings him ever. He's still the most powerful man on earth, right? Like I said, at least 27 different allegations against him. He's in the Epstein files a million times. He's a known pedophile and rapist, okay? And I'm supposed to say, sure, let him get away with that. But Graham had consensual sexting years ago, and that's a red line. I can't. How dare you? Come on, man. What are we, babies? What are we, children? So here's somebody come after me.
Kyle Kulinski. Graham Platner could have sexted my mom and I'd still vote for him. And you might be asking yourself, why is Kyle Kulinski tweeting some weirdo shit like this that sounds MAGA adjacent?
How is that MAGA adjacent to say that
no,
Graham
he
could...
sounds exactly MAGA. He sounds MAGA 2 years ago. He sounds exactly like
Sounds a bit like I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and not lose any support. And Kyle Kalinski's like, yeah, motherfucker, he could. Yeah, it's just the blue version.
sex my mom and I still vote for him? I don't quite understand. The whole point is we need to defeat MAGA at any and all costs. So I, of course, will support and vote for the person who sexted 6 people. The point is literally the exact opposite. In fact, you're the one who's MAGA adjacent because you're the one who thinks, what, this is such a big deal that now nobody should support Platner and therefore Susan Collins should win that seat and MAGA should hold the Senate and continue their reign of terrorism and their crime spree across this country? Who's the MAGA adjacent one here? When I'm the one that's saying, let's keep our fucking eye on the ball and make sure.
I just want to give him some kind of credit for straw manning a TikTok video. Boy, he loaded enough straw into that scarecrow, boy. Woof. He's like, he put so many words in that dude's mouth that that dude did not say. But anyway.
Kyle's a goddamn professional, man.
Yeah.
No, it's just, it's, to me, it's a great example of someone just stitching together all the logic that they, in 1 second, can be arguing against, and then in the next second, kind of weaponize for their own favor. And it's always like to the max. Everything with both parts of these horseshoe always have to be in that like epic or nothing burger kind of scale. Whereas you can't just say, I think Platner actually, this is some good evidence that he's kind of a scumbag in his personal life, but I think he might be a better senator. Like, is it that hard to just say, I think he might be a piece of shit, but I think I might want him more as my senator than Susan Collins? Is that hard? Like, I don't know why you have to make this about stopping fascism. Yeah. Everything has to be the most important.
Hey, and
or
MAGA's
compared
on his
to
side. I don't know why he hates MAGA so much. We want to keep Platner around. Yeah, we don't want him to go.
Well, he doesn't hate MAGA. He doesn't hate MAGA. He hates establishment liberals. He hates me, even though I fucking would tell anyone in Maine if right now, if I were voting in that primary, it looks like he's gonna win. I would probably vote for him. You know, like I don't know how to separate. If you were in that state, this is where I'm gonna flip up. This is where it gets really interesting.
Maine? I'll pull that trigger. I'll pull the switch to vote for him. Wait, are you in Maine? I'm just.
Are you in Maine?
Are you in Maine?
Thank you, bro. No, okay, hold on. To that
you
point,
might be a hardcore. You might be a hardcore, but remember when in the general, it's going to be normies that come out. And Maine is uber white. And Maine is uber upper crust. And they might find the Marxism Leninist thing, fatty and go for it. But I don't know if they'll go. I think there are limits to that. I do. I just personally think that they might pick Susan Collins because she represents their stodginess more than a guy who's got this much baggage. I mean, just on a real base point of view.
It's a weird ass state. That's what I really think is interesting. Is it's to the point that this is going to be breaking points. It's not very big, so it's easy to make a lot of contact with all the voters. But to the point you're making too, it's just strange. There are a lot of weird things in the way that like politically they align in Maine. But this is, I think, a really good point. Like Breaking Points has been kind of dropping on my list a little bit of respect in they're just very emotionally driven in a lot of their reporting, which is but they also just cover the gamut. They have a daily show that actually puts out content, which my ass ain't doing, so I do end up watching a good amount of Breaking
We're
Points.
trying. We're gonna get there.
We're gonna get there. But this is kind of to the point that I was just touching on. How is it going to impact people's opinions if they've already met the motherfucker and liked
Scandal
him?
and
That
it's
kind of
so
shit.
ridiculous. Like, I'm sorry. Ryan made a great point. There are only a few 100,000 people who vote in Maine. You could actually conceivably meet most of the politically engaged people in that state.
Graham knows many of them.
It's a small state. Like, this
Yeah.
is not Texas. This is not California, where the media culture matters more than anything, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to meet somebody, right? Or social media or any of these. This is actually like some of the last vestiges of literally like barnstorming every county or whatever. Sorry, Maine, I'm not that familiar with your structure, but I think
they're counties.
I think so too. But I never know with some of these places, parishes, whatever. So with Maine, it's a tiny state. It has a very, very small number of people who are actually politically engaged. As far as I know, literally has only one major city, so it doesn't seem that hard to actually go around and meet people, to hold events, and ultimately, America is telling us a very clear message. From Paxton to Platner to Trump, your personal life and your upstanding moral character does not matter. What matters is, what are you going to do for me? And I think, by the way, I don't think that's necessarily a good thing, but I do think it is reflective of an establishment culture where we had people who were presentable, presentably outward facing, quote, upstanding moral people who got us into, look, W. All right, W is a good example. W, as far as I know, he didn't cheat on his wife. He was a recovering cocaine addict and a drunk. He found God and he was touched and all that. He was a disaster. I think he's a good guy. I really do. Like, in terms of his own personal character. But as you just said about Iraq, that didn't translate to good judgment. That didn't translate to being a good president. It was a complete fucking disaster. That's part of the reason why Trump became
immoral,
president.
by
Yes,
the way.
and immoral, of course. But I'm saying, like, what we often took
Personal
for
morality.
I'm trying to think of other people who presented that way, where these politicians that a lot
Jimmy
of people
Carter.
fetish. Perfect. Oh my God, perfect, right? Jimmy
Saint of a
Carter.
man.
He was, the saint, Habitat for Humanity. He was a disaster, an absolute disaster. I made this case actually before Trump, but I'll give you the counter to this. Before Trump, Lex Friedman, you can go and look it up. We have a long exchange about whether the personal character of a president matters. And I said no. No, it doesn't. And I said, there's so much history whenever we go back and I look, and I just talk about it. I talk about JFK, I talk about LBJ, I talk about FDR, I talk about Grant, who himself was a fool, fell for a number of different financial scams, literally, almost died penniless. And that's why part of the reason he had to write his memoir. A lot of these people display bad judgment in deep and horrible ways of their personal life, where if I knew them people personally, I would judge the hell out of them. However, they ended up doing great things. But I made that case about Trump. Now, I could also say that Trump's venality and his obsession with himself, I think, has been a disaster.
Well, but that's an important point.
Yeah.
It's not the womanizing.
Yeah,
right.
No,
that
I
is
don't care about that.
the issue for it's that venality, it's the narcissism, it's the self-dealing, and that it's the corrupt behavior that has been there throughout his entire. He is a con artist. That is what he, at his core, is great at doing. He's great at creating an illusion and selling that illusion. That is.
And they get into Trump bashing naturally because
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It seems like everything goes that way. 'Cause it's funny because on right wing media, I don't know, it's slightly different. Anyway, it's hard for me to articulate. But I actually kind of agree with him though. At least I can tell you on the right, because I can't tell you the mindset of the left. But on the right and among independents even, yeah, the substance or style over substance doesn't play anymore. It doesn't play. We want fighters. We don't want fighters.
and I would definitely agree. I think I agree with exactly how Sager put it there too. Is people don't care about that anymore. Like, even the only people I see on the left who are really like caring about that are definitely like the establishment types. But like out of the real life people, they're the influencer types. It's like that dude Hutch, if you might remember, the bald guy who makes the like, I agree with him politically, but he's really condescending, smug. It's those kind of people who still have some vestige of like the um, you need to be as woke as possible if you're going to be a leader, kind of a thing. It's like, cut that shit, bro. We got to cut
Yeah.
that and run because people don't care. To his point, I think people are so frustrated and so like impatient. There's a sense of urgency that it's like text their text to someone. I don't give a like I just don't think people care enough about it
I think a certain
to the
segment.
point
I
that they
also
were
think
making,
there's a lot of just
and
normie
a certain
voters that
segment
aren't
will.
plugged in, and when they stick their
Mm.
head up, and the New York Times blasts that he's got sexting on kick or whatever the situation is, then or if something worse is, if there is some sort of Damocles, a sort of Damocles, some dick pic or something, a kind of a fun twist on that, maybe the dong of Damocles. But anyway.
But please, this dude. I know the tweet I'm sending out with the trailer of this. The dong of Damocles
Just
hangs
hanging
over
over his head.
Platner.
Yeah.
I just a shadow of a dong over Platner's. Do you think we can get Grok?
Yeah.
Put a
Yeah.
salami shadow. Now shape the salami like blank blank. No.
But I
All
mean,
right.
now again, those are the swingers. So I don't know, will they matter? Will they swing
The
left? Will they swing
swiggers.
right? And again, I wish I would have bookmarked the tweet, but there was a reporter on the ground in Maine, and what they were hearing, that's a lot of this stuff is noise. But the signal they were getting was the reason Collins people were leaning towards Collins was because of her position on the Armed Services Committee. She brings a lot of federal money in,
Mention that.
and yeah, and she would lose her position, and Maine would lose a lot of clout. And that's kind of
Because
I
of that.
think that's an overriding concern, at least for the powerful people. I don't know if that works so much down in the blue collar, down in the grit among the grunts. But among the more, highfalutin types, that is a consideration they're taking in.
Have we gotten a lot of polling from Maine recently? I guess
No,
that'll be something
and
we'll watch, huh?
and
See
as
if this
and as
comes out in the
far
polls.
as no, and I wouldn't. I mean, he did drop an internal today, and it wasn't very flattering. It had him like at 48% or something, which for an internal, you would think it at least tell you, hey guys, at least bump it up to 51. But
Well, how much of a lead did it give him? Was he up by 7 or some shit?
yeah, the undecided was big. She was small. She was behind, of
Oh,
course, but
okay.
I don't
But
recall. I
if it
couldn't
was a
find
big
it.
undecided chunk.
Yeah, I did see an internal that was dropped, and a couple of the poll bros were kind of laughing about it because it's an internal. But Maine, yeah, as far as I know, like states like Maine are going to be hard to get a vibe on. They're just
Really are.
yeah.
Yeah.
They missed
I'm
Collins' last election. She was supposed to lose by like 9, and it swung by 9. She won by or something like that. She was supposed to lose by 6, and she won by
It was a
6.
pretty
It was
big
like
miss. Yeah, if I remember correctly, it was a pretty big
yeah, it was
miss.
a
It wasn't
huge
like
miss.
a squeaker. A squeaker. I also have pull up Megan Kelly reacting with what's
I
her
haven't seen
name?
Grandma Groiper in a while. So I
My
have no idea.
Graper.
Oh, that chick I was talking about her before
Emily
stream when I was talking about
Emily
the break.
Jahinski. Yeah, we need to get her
Yeah,
added onto because she's on Breaking Points a lot, and yeah, I've been seeing her on Megan Kelly's show a
yeah,
bunch.
she's quote unquote conservative, quote unquote. I watched her morning Massey video when she was mourning the loss of Massey. He was a good conservative and blah blah blah.
So
Yeah.
you hate libertarians, huh? So you just
Oh,
think that whole
totally.
branch?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Unashamedly.
No,
I
we're
don't want to.
unbiased
Yeah, I don't want to.
watch observers.
Yeah, I don't want to round lefties up and put them into camps. I want to round libertarians up and put them into camps.
Jesus Christ. Clip that. Clip that and tweet it
Clip
out.
that and put it out there.
That's right. We're gonna start
Libertarians are the worst.
we're gonna start a rivalry. Dave Smith, we coming for you, motherfucker. Oh, oh. Although we'll pretty much just play Andrew Wilson debating you and having you explained why you actually don't believe in libertarian thoughts whatsoever. But
Because it's
that's
pie in
fine.
the sky stuff. Libertarians are just Democrats that can't come out of the closet. They should just join
Sure.
the left.
Okay. I thought you were saying like quite literally they're all gay.
They are now.
So
They've been taken over by the left libertarians, and so that's why they kicked out the
have
New
they?
Hampshire party. Yeah, I was gonna send you the video of Kershaw went all into it of
Saw that
how,
there was a bunch of like leadership
yeah,
turmoil and we may have even mentioned
the
it at
most
some point.
successful libertarian party in the whole country is the New Hampshire wing or state, whatever
Actually,
grouping. Yes, and they kicked him out of the party because they weren't, because he went there and just ragged on him on how they were all commies and stuff.
right. So let's check in then with the woke Reich. Woke right. I don't know the fake. Megan
Retarded
Kelly's
right,
not even libertarian. The retarded right, yeah, because
retarded
she's
right.
on
What
that
they're
part of the
going with
horseshoe
it,
now.
he and his wife.
What's the other right?
Like,
Pause.
let me start with this.
I just want to say she was never associated with the right before March of 2024. You know what I'm saying?
Megan
She
Kelly?
was she
It
was
was
never.
probably earlier than 2024. It would have
No,
been
it was
during
right at the
the
beginning of Trump, right when Trump was beat DeSantis. She got on the train. Try to find her to say anything nice about Trump prior to March of 2024.
like including during the first term. Do you mean like a post
Yep,
January 6th and in
post
between? Okay, fair enough. Fair
all the
enough.
way back to when you'll bleed from your whatever, all the way
I
back.
think even during the first term, she had a good amount of trying to think of the most diplomatic way to put it. A good amount of praise that she would enough a few praise that
I'm
would
gonna have to
to
dig.
me
I'll
qualify
dig.
her as being a support her. The
I don't ever remember her
amount of
popping up as a
qualifications
positive
I'm
one.
trying to use, I just think she supported Trump, and I'm trying to use like
I think that's an
80,000 words to say
impression,
it.
and maybe perhaps mine is an
Could be.
impression as well. But me living in the space didn't see Megan Kelly on the radar until after he beat DeSantis. I'm just telling
Okay.
you that's a fact. We didn't
I
start
just
getting
said last week when Ken
doses of her.
Paxton beat John Cornyn, notwithstanding the fact that Ken Paxton has all these scandals in his past, including like with women, not his wife, and that the wife filed for divorce saying it wasn't a biblical marriage. That I think we've gotten to the point in American politics where, as Heather McDonald has been arguing for a while, like Eros has no place in assessing a candidate's fitness. Like men will be men is a short form way of putting it. I'm sorry to be sexist. I guess women will be women too, but you know what I'm saying? That like after the excesses of the Me Too movement, which was more about sexual harassment and abuse than it was about cheating on your spouse, but people are just like shy to get into what's happening in a person's marriage if as a matter of politics. And I think that's right. I think we are very different minded about it in 2026 than we were in 2016 even. However, what Graham Platner should have done was to come out and say, my wife and I had problems in the beginning of our relationship. We dealt with them through counseling, and that's all I'm going to say about it. It's a private matter. That's it. I honestly, I would be like, get off his back. I really would. But that's not what he did. He came out and clearly lied to us, and now it's on. Now it's on, Graham, because you've been lying for a while, like you didn't know that was a Nazi tattoo. That's obviously not true either. We don't know why you got a Nazi tattoo. I don't think you're a Nazi.
He was drunk on marine
It's pretty
leave
much-
in Croatia, which who among us, Megan?
I mean, you know, I've told you, I was like, my mom, Linda, she got a tattoo when she turned 70. It was of a rosary. I don't think she could have like accidentally been inked with a swastika or Nazi insignia, but
She probably
I could be
wasn't that
wrong. You
drunk.
know, my mom could have been. No. I don't think she was drunk at
On
all.
military leave.
In any event,
What are we
Bro
doing?
was military.
just to back up.
Bro knew exactly what that tattoo
Was
was. Yeah,
Oh,
bro
what's-
was.
what
Yeah, everyone.
odd
yeah,
comparison, but okay.
Yeah. Besides Megan, she's like Kyle for me, man. Are you in Maine? Fuck you too. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Left or right? Fuck you both. Fuck FYM. Fuck y'all, motherfuckers.
Fuck y'all motherfuckers. Buy
y'all.
Daily Hot
The Wall
Take.
Street Journal breaks this story that he allegedly was sexting with some number of women post his marriage to his wife Amy and pre-launch of the campaign. He married his wife Amy in late 2023. Definitely in 2023. I think it was late 2023. So this is recent history. This isn't like they got married 25 years ago and there was something. You're like, who cares, right? This is a couple years ago. He was a newlywed and he was caught sexting with some number of women, 6 to 12. Originally, the number was 12. And then their defense was, it was only 6. Note to the fellas at home. Don't try this.
You have to set the bar high.
It's really a 4D chess move. They leaked the 12 so that it would, come down afterwards.
And to be
So then we-
fair, if you ever watched American Pie, the rule of 3, whenever a man says you slept with a number of women, they always multiply it by 3. And then whenever a woman says she slept with so many men, you have to divide it by 3. So
Divide it by
maybe he
3?
was 12 divided by 3. Maybe he only sexted 4. I'm just saying the rule of 3. It's one of those things.
It might just be a different ratio in sex as
could
opposed
be.
to actual intercourse. It's all. I don't have a conversion table in front of
Real
me.
number
Ball
looks
and
better.
chain. Half that, honey. Like half that.
A 50% decrease.
Right. It's going in the right direction. So he, and by the way, one of the really interesting things is the person who outed this, Genevieve McDonald, who did not cloak herself in nobility either, because this woman, the reason she apparently knew that this was true is she is the one who heard it directly from Amy. She was running Graham's campaign, and she went to Amy, and I guess Graham, saying, if there's anything bad we need to know about, please tell us now so we're not surprised. And then Amy told her this. So I do feel bad because that is dirty pool, man. That hurts. But, live and learn. I've been burned by these nasty PR agents.
Again, it's the motivation. I mean, it didn't help her get any more jobs. It's not going to help her get any more money. This notoriety is not helpful to this chick. So my burning question, this is kind of like, who leaked the story on Hasan, or, there's always questions that nobody's asking. What's her motivation? Has anyone talked to her? I can't believe she's not being pulled in for an interview by, left, right, or I don't think there's such a thing, but neutral media. No one's
I'm going
talking to
to
her.
send this person a tweet tonight in a direct message. I'm going to slide into them DMs and be like, do you want to do an interview? Because, I'm
just
so
ask her
fucking...
why.
And nobody else, you're dead on. No one else seems to be like, what the
Ask her
fuck
why.
changed? Like, I don't. Instead, it's just the assumption. Everyone jumps to, well, this is the establishment. The knives are out. They're coming after them. Okay, I'm throwing on my tinfoil hat, and people are going to be like, oh, is this dude in Maine? How did he know? Graham Platner started hooking up with campaign manager. And when he said, oh, I've got to stop doing this, is when campaign manager was like, okay, well then fuck you, I'm burning you. So when that all comes to light, it's because I have the inside
Hell hath
track
no
there.
fury.
Like a campaign manager scorns.
Well, then she got a bigger story to tell. Then maybe the dong of Damocles is a real thing.
It's still, it's dangling, baby. That's
In the past,
right.
they are just a bunch of disgusting, filthy scum. There might be one or two exceptions out there, but as a pool, disgusting, filthy, dirty, lying scum. That's what they are. So this woman wasn't PR. She was campaign, which same rules. Anyway, now she's decided to go.
Ain't nobody.
This woman, by the
judgmental.
way, didn't.
Yeah.
This woman, by the way, didn't work in PR. But it's the same thing. I just went on this tirade about scum of the earth.
Yeah.
She wasn't actually in PR, but it's all kind of the same with these people.
Women be some evil bitches, man. It's just I don't know if you've ever seen the meme, but there's three girls or three guys are three girls are talking, and the girls are like, oh hey, I love you, girl, love you, and then one girl walks away, and then they amongst themselves are like, that bitch, that bitch, that bitch, and then there's the three dudes, and they're like, I guess I should
fuck
use that
you,
word.
bro. Yeah.
Fuck you, bro, dumbass, cocksucker, cum bubble. Just throwing insults at each other, and then the guy walks away and he's like, that's a good dude.
Don't tell him this, but I really fucking love that guy.
Yeah, yeah, that guy's fucking awesome.
That is funny.
Out the story, the threats that came her way from the Platner campaign, we can get to in a minute, but she gets the story out there. So it's not like Oppo research, like she heard it directly from Amy. That's pretty, other than having Amy sit down with the New York Times and say it, you're not going to do better than that, which is why both papers went with it and felt confident in going with it. Well, then Amy comes out with her, long, overly therapized response to this. And then Graham comes out with what are clearly lies. And let's go through them each. Let's first look at Amy's response to the reporting.
Skip through this. We did watch this
please,
painfully.
$1,000.
Is Shay wrong about the
33
theatrically long? Yeah, bad
ounces
movie.
of gold at spot values willing to share mind. Text MK to the number 989898 now. So Emily, just a couple things. Media outlets willing to share gossip. Like this is the media's creation. This is not the media's creation. This is your husband's creation. No one forced him to run for office. Literally nobody. Could have stayed on the side. This is why a lot of people stay on the sidelines. They don't want to get dragged for bad behavior. Most people don't have as quite.
That's also why a lot of voters are going to think, if this is what was keeping a whole lot of real people from running, I think it's going to be more and more common that they're going to be like, yeah, Reddit posts, oh, he sexted someone, he didn't do blah, blah, blah. As long as you can always say, well, their side's worse because of X, you'll always be able to justify terrible fucking representation because you're in this.
I think it only works for now. See, here's the thing:
it's a moment in time.
America,
I agree with that.
Because we're in this crisis and partisanship is so hyper, focused, and so it's so hyper partisanship. I think now it's applicable because right now they're just looking for fighters. Once we get through this existential civil war. And by the way, I'm beating
Once
the
we get through
drums.
this constitutional crisis, everything's going to be fine.
Yeah, I do think. Well, and because we've been here before, America, we've been here before. Everyone seems to forget.
Sounding like Rachel Maddow right now.
Well, in the 1930s, the two sides were convinced the future was either fascism or communism. That America was going to have to pick one, because both were succeeding in different countries throughout the world. So I mean, this isn't a unique period in history. This is a reflection of that. And we got through that, and then we got to a boring politics. I firmly believe that will happen again. But we'll see. Time will tell. History isn't linear. Time is linear, but history is more cyclical, and we'll see if that comes to pass. All right, let's go back on to these bitches be ragging. No, they don't.
Quite as many items in that column as Graham Platner does, right? You have a couple things that they feel ashamed about or they wish they hadn't done. It's like Nazi tattoos and maybe a dozen sexting partners while married is different, not to mention the Kick membership, which we'll get to. That's one point, which I want to talk to you about.
It's a locker room messaging app. That's fine.
And secondly, being married is hard.
What I understand about
Disagree.
Kick, because I know very little about Kick. Kick is like a little kids thing, though. It's like
I've learned about it recently because I'm a fully grown adult.
Yeah, no, I mean I remember like in a personal life, someone we both know and he was like, whoa. And he was someone who would watch like the live leaks back in the day where like all the sickest stuff on the internet was all on one website. And he was like, Kick is like, whoa, there's some sick stuff on there, bro. And that was, 2020-ish or a little bit before 2020-ish. And then I never heard about it again. Yeah, so I mean, it had this reputation for a while. I never knew much about it because I thought it was younger themed. But that's the weird thing there. Like Grinder, if you had a Grinder match thing, that would make more, or Tinder, whatever the hetero. I'm not hip.
I've heard of both of those. Exactly right. Yeah. I'm not a kid, so
so Tinder's the hetero one. Whichever.
But I've heard of both of those because I'm not Gen Z or below. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I've been in a monogamous relationship, so I kind of my buddies when they go on about how to they have to date in this digital world, it just I'm like, oh my God, because we would have to
Fuck
go,
that.
we'd have to have game. You'd have to meet people, like, and then you'd have to, if you didn't have the look bonus, then you had to have the humor bonus. So you had to, you had to do something to make yourself stand out in order,
Now imagine that having to break down that look or humor barrier through a screen, through the fucking black mirror
yeah.
in that other chick's hand. And now you understand how this loneliness epidemic is going on and being like,
Well,
fuck,
and
I'm
it's
just constantly
and
judged
they're
for
swiping right. They're swiping through you if you don't have the right image or the right stats. You're not over X
right.
tall or whatever. You just get swiped or
Yep.
X amount of income, whatever. All right, went back to the
Hey,
bitches.
Disagree. I've said this before.
our male viewership after this episode is gonna
It's
skyrocket.
actually
And cool
awesome.
chicks.
And
And
I,
cool
I have to
chicks.
say,
And all the cool, yeah, that's right. That's right.
I do think if you really think marriage is very hard, you might not be married to the right person. You can disagree with me. There may be a lot of married people out there disagreeing with me, but my own view of it is, if it's really hard, you married the wrong person. I'm blessed to tell you, my marriage is not hard. 10% of it is hard. 90% of it is totally blissful and awesome. Married my best friend. He's supportive. He's great. We're hot for each other. It's the first person I look forward to talking to about anything. Like, it's great. I don't know why she's having such a hard time 2 years in. Then she says being newly married is hard. No, it's not. That's usually the blissful period for everyone. What do you mean?
Yeah.
That was yeah, like the everything
And
about marriage is easy or whatever. I was like, oh, whatever, Kelly. But no, that's a really good point. The
and
honeymoon period is notoriously difficult. Like, come on, what are we talking about?
yeah, and she's not wrong. The whole 10% being sucky and 90% being just
But
blissfully and
it's
awesome.
that
When
percent is
in
difficult.
fact,
You
the
know what I
truth
mean?
is 10% is difficult. She's not wrong there, but only 10% is blissful. The other 80% is, man, your feet stink when you're watching movies on a couch. Or, are you going to go in there and take
I
out the
get you.
trash? I
Right.
know I will get to it. Are you going to go in there and take out the trash? I mean, it's not,
Neither
there's
one
not,
of us,
yeah,
right? Neither one of us are married to a soldier with PTSD or a former
yeah,
soldier with PTSD,
yeah.
which would add that would bump the percentage, the
I
challenge, the
suppose
difficulty
I
challenge or
suppose high
whatever.
maintenance versus low maintenance partner would come into the consideration as well. But the majority, a good relationship for someone who's been in one for a very long time, is that boring is the rule. The majority
And
of
most
time,
certainly,
and
it,
it's someone you chill with while it's boring.
yes. Well, and that's why it gets to Megan's point. It gets difficult usually later on.
Yeah,
It's early on. Everything's novel and new and
and new, yeah,
fresh. Yeah, that is notorious. It's to say notorious. I keep using notoriously wrong. It's very
notorious.
uh quite clearly supposed to be the actual fun part of a marriage, or the most fun blissful part is literally they call it the honeymoon period. But I don't remember if the other bit was important enough. I was too busy today to get good timestamps, so I don't know if there's even another part of this that's worth going into. Do you have some like Twitter takes possibly
Not
of
really, because like I said, in MAGA land, not a big thing. Like among the younger crowd, I didn't see anything from Asmongold or Nux or Leaflet or Kershaw or so I didn't see anything from the younger MAGA set. Older MAGA set, no, there are other concerns right now. The new DNI is a big concern. The neoconservatives are crashing out because Trump is extinguishing a civilization or whatever. They're all mad. They're as mad as the America Firsters were a month ago. So the only part of the right I see making a thing out of this whole thing is the establishment or the anti-Trumpers. They hate Trump, but they didn't go full never Trump like the Bulwark. And because the Bulwark is so pro Platner, they clown on the Bulwark all the time. That's about the only place I'm seeing it. The only I saw the Ruthless podcast, which are basically a mirror of the Pod Bros. These guys worked in administrations on this in the Senate and stuff, and now they have a podcast. So they're insiders who and they know players and stuff like that in the establishment. They did a segment on the whole Plattner thing. If you want their take, I can send you the link. But other than that, I don't see much discussion about it at all. I would say in MAGA world, this is the seventh hottest story right now. I can literally think of seven other stories
Far
some
down there.
people are talking about.
What about Hasan and Cenk? Did we want to try to get some of those clips in?
Let's see. We can go. We can hit it short because there really isn't a whole lot of saying. We went Hassan heavy last week. Earlier this, no, it was last week.
Yeah, if anything, I would want it to be more
Earlier this
Cenk
week.
focused than.
The beginning of the next video today has a lot of Cenk in there. He goes after Cenk pretty hard. But if you have clips, you can bring up. That's the only one I've ever seen talking about it. Asmongold talked about it too. I didn't watch his coverage of it. Right now, actually, the big thing going on in their world is the Lego. Is this thing making any waves on the left? This is a non-political story. This is the
Saw
investigative reporter
someone
with
had
the
a
Lego
story.
thief.
It's hard for me to remember. It might have been a Nux video, but I know that popped up in my feed, and I was like, "What is this?
Okay,
What's
that's
going
real
on?"
popular amongst the low of the younger peeps. Everyone's enjoying the hell out of that video right now. And I have to admit, I watch both of them too with reactions to them. So it's a funny story, but it's a non-political story.
Let's with the rest of our time, let's just get the words straight from the man himself here, and let him explain a bit what's going on with his band.
Hi guys, I just got banned from the United Kingdom.
Shit.
Not joking. I just got back from the airport, and I was going to get on a flight to go to London, and they said, "I'm sorry, sir, there's a problem." I said, "What's the problem?" They said, "You've been banned from the United Kingdom." So that just happened. This is what I was going to the airport in. And they said that the British government has rejected my visa. They did not give an explanation at that time, but we now have the explanation. It was in an article in Times of London, as butchered as that article was, and I'll explain to you why they say that they're banning me and why I'm apparently a danger to the public order. I didn't know I had that kind of power. It's interesting. I walk into the public and people go nuts, apparently. And so what horrific criticism of the British government did I have? They said, "Oh, no, he didn't criticize the British government." You'll never guess which government's criticism got me banned from the United Kingdom. You'll never guess it. I mean, you could take days trying to guess. Is it Iceland? Is it Paraguay? Is it Turkmenistan? Oh, gosh. Is it America? Is it Russia? Is it the UK? No. Oh, you guys already figured it out? That it's Israel? Yes. I know it's shocking.
Hey, are you starting to get why I listen to some of these motherfuckers on 2.0 speed? Where it's like, I can't, with the fucking theatrics, especially from Cenk. Let me actually get the
Can
Piers
you find
Morgan
that
thing.
article? Can you find that article?
Yeah,
Because he
let me see
didn't
if I can.
say. If I'm looking for it now, I'm gonna look over.
Yeah,
'Cause I
you
went
you
over.
look for article. I'm gonna find the better clip from. I might even just let him play
Because I'm
so I can
almost
criticize
interested
him.
in the
But you
original
are
article.
correct.
I like the
I got
source.
banned from the UK,
Right.
not for criticizing the UK, but for criticizing Israel. And so I'm going to show you exactly what they said and break it down for you because it is beyond absurd. So, and it feels weird, guys, honestly, like they literally took my freedom away. And I'll tell you this, when I was at the airport and they told me, and they're like, "Sorry, sir, you're not allowed to board the flight. You cannot travel to Great Britain." It felt like a little bit of a gut punch, and I'm surprised by that because it's kind of hard to shake me, right? But I think it's because I had a visceral reaction to having my freedom taken away. So I'm going to ask you guys throughout the video, what are we doing here?
His freedom to travel to the UK? Is that like a something that he has like an inherent right to do is
Yeah,
freely
okay.
travel anywhere in the world that he fucking wants to? That's such a weird thing about this debate is framing it as if he needs his First Amendment guaranteed rights as a U.S. citizen guaranteed in the fucking UK. What are we doing here? What?
Yeah. They
I don't
have
know. And
borders. They get to say
right,
who comes in and comes out. Now the whole
including a couple weeks ago when they didn't let the motherfuckers in for the Tommy Robinson fucking event,
and
whatever the fuck it was.
and I don't want to interrupt Cenk climbing up on the cross, which I think is a funny metaphor to use since he's a Muslim. But the reason that I'm still looking for this article, I sure hope I find it. But the reason that the government blocked both of those two is because they had blocked two right-wing people from showing up for Tommy Robinson's Unite the Right march about a couple weeks ago or a month ago, roughly. I think it was a couple weeks ago. So they had to look even-handed. It was all just about looking
My
even-handed.
complaint, yep, is that it's all for show rather than it being like he literally will present it as Israel literally sent the order over, hey, do not let Cenk and Hassan in because they're a danger to, like, it's the way it's presented is quite literally the anti-Semitic trope of Israel controls us. And
Yeah.
it's
In fact, I would go so far as to say that I think they banned like some Zionist activists too. I'm pretty
pretty
sure
sure
that
they
that's a
did.
true statement.
Right.
That sounds right to me.
They've been banning more people recently who are like political provocateurs, one might argue.
Well, they
It's
want to
like they
keep right
don't
now.
want.
They're on a tinderbox over there, especially
Mhm.
with the Novak the Novak killing just recently. So I
Yeah, they're
mean,
not looking to turn shit up. Yeah,
no,
exactly. It's
they want to calm down because they are sitting on a tinderbox.
And this, I know part of, because I was trying to early on try to parse together how it is that, both of them had found out if it had been reported anywhere. I know he mentions it's coming up where it was first reported for him. Um, but here, let me real quick share, because I know I kept hearing that it was related to an appearance on Pierce Morgan's show. And he even mentions it here in this clip, and I don't know if we're going to get to all of it, so I want to at least get I went to that episode of the Pierce Morgan show. Because again, if you want crucial context on this story that everyone's talking about, you need to check in on this Pierce Morgan panel. So I don't know, maybe he's a really influential talking head here. No, I'm sorry. But this is the first time they go to, I can span through all this. This is the first time Cenk talks through this whole thing. So we'll
Shoulder,
check
who
in
says
with
he's Muslim.
him here.
Let me go to the only Muslim
customs.
member of the panel today, which is Cenk Uygur. Cenk, welcome
very
back
desperate
to
attempt.
Uncensored. I mean, you've got a guy there on stage with bacon on his shoulder who says his mission is to inflict maximum damage on Islam. And there was constant anti-Islam, anti-Muslim.
Are, for the record, they're literally talking about that
Unite the
Tommy
Right.
Robinson. Yeah,
rhetoric
Right.
during this rally. And if you look at Tommy Robinson's social media feed, it is a relentless attack specifically against Islam and Muslims. He pretends he's not anti-Muslim, but he constantly attacks
Not Muslims,
the religion
Islam.
of Islam. So what's your view of this, Cenk?
It's not Muslims, it's just Islam.
Yeah. So look, I view it in two different ways. And I grew up Muslim, but I'm atheist now. So, I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to speak effectively enough for Muslims. But like the bacon on the shoulder and the burqa skit, I don't care about it all. Oh, wow, you showed a piece of bacon. It's not like Muslims don't know bacon exists. So I'm not offended by that at all. On the other hand, when they start talking about kicking out Muslims from parliament, why? Why should Muslims not serve in parliament? Well, that's obviously and directly racist and bigoted. And to me, the biggest problems peers are.
Is Islam a race? It wouldn't be racist. Islam is a religion. Okay, go on.
You could say prejudiced or bigoted.
Prejudiced?
Yeah, did he say racist?
Yeah,
right,
he said
exactly.
racist and bigoted.
Yeah.
That's how he said. Yeah.
The hypocrisy,
interesting.
you're right. Of course, if they said 1% of this about Jews, they'd probably literally be imprisoned in Britain. And it shows you the disparity in power that the two different groups have. And most importantly, a lot of this hatred toward Muslims are driven by Israeli propaganda. They want the British and the Americans to hate Muslims so that they'll finance the wars against Israel's Muslim neighbors. So those are massive problems. And we've got to root out the people that are in our government and our media that serve foreign countries like Israel and purposely spread bigotry and hatred. Silly skits about bacon, I could care less about. And by the way, if we have the same rules, they're allowed to defend Muslims, but we're also allowed to defend Israel, great. But I'm coming to London in a couple of weeks, as you know, Piers, and I intend to greatly offend Israel. I don't know if I'll be arrested over there. You know, they have some absurd laws in England. My nephew, Hasan Piker, is coming with me, and he might be arrested because some pro-Israel people think that they can say anything they want about Muslims, but the minute you touch Israel, not even Judaism, they think you should be arrested. Obviously, that kind of double standard is unacceptable.
I've not heard. I have not heard. In fact, the Green Party over there just won on an explicit anti-Israeli ticket. That's part of their politics and why they were talking, because the Greens have turned into a red-green alliance. They brought in they literally like campaigned in the foreign languages of the different groups that have taken over the different parts of England. So this is like a thing over there. I cannot think of one time that I mean the BBC definitely is not bought and owned by Israel. Watch BBC coverage on Gaza. They buy everything Gaza says without question.
But I can disregard everything. They've been banned. So that means Israel really does control everything in the UK.
Yeah.
Or they're literally talking about how, you know, the UK is kind of restricting who can enter based on who it is who's going to cause the most offense, maybe. And he literally says, I'm traveling there in a few weeks. I intend to cause great offense to Israel.
Yeah.
He doesn't even say, I intend to have a lot of discussions that might offend a whole lot of those people. Does that mean, like, he's given the game away.
Well, he basically said Tommy Robinson doesn't matter. I don't care about that stuff. I do care about getting Israel out of the government and the news and whatever, the whole institutions and all that. So literally he just said, Tommy, and who Labor government, who is in control of English government currently, their main enemy is Tommy Robinson. So he just basically dismissed Tommy Robinson as a nothing and insulted Labor government who's in control.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, right. It's
so Labor government doesn't want you there. Stay out, bitch.
But it doesn't need to. He doesn't need to act in the realm of like truth. It's all about spin from here, which I think is just so fascinating about. Yeah, exactly. It's I don't know how to even describe. We'll go back to, because that was all really I had from the old Pierce clip. Was he does quite literally say, I intend to cause great offense to this nation that is an ally of the country I'm traveling to. In the midst of a conversation of like, they're kind of limiting a lot of people who come into the country. And like, it's don't act like a fucking victim after all this. Come on, motherfucker.
And show me the report of the person getting arrested because they made a slight against Israel, and I'll show you. Well, first of all, I haven't seen one, period. But the people that are getting arrested over there are right-wing memes. They're right-wingers that are going to jail for it. So, I don't know what to tell him. He has nothing to worry about other than the fact that there was heat on him. I mean, there's a station over there called GB News, and they were railing on the government real hard. They're like a fox. I don't think they're as powerful, but they're like a fox. And I know that was pushing where the Labor government said, okay, fine. Well, look, we banned your 2 righties. Now we'll ban 2 lefties.
So I don't really have a whole lot more because I don't want to go too late here. Here's something though from my history. I've now been recommended, Larry. Let me pull up. Actually, I should have just pulled this up so I can share the full. This is a VTuber who is a Barbie doll. And I blame this on you, by the way. This is not. I mean, it's a little bit because it's Hasan, but this is literally a VTuber. Go to the thing. Who's just a. Did you see her?
How to say
She's just a Barbie doll.
The right number of
I love it.
But I'm having a great one regardless.
Right wing or left wing?
Kind of. From what I gather, kind of center left. She makes fun of like Hasan and iDubbbz and shit a whole bunch. Like more from the cultural kind of drama slop tuber space, more akin to like Pegasus kind of content than like going deep on policy or any of that kind of shit. But yeah, no. Now I got other VTubers and shit popping up in my algorithm because the algo is like, he'll watch that shit. serve it up.
Yeah, I get served quite
So
a few now, but I only watch my main lines. I have three that I watch, and then like one I'll occasionally check in on. But I got in deep. I mean, I was watching the videos. The Have you seen the where the Asmongold their AI videos, and they've got like 600,000 views. They're creating their whole sphere AI entertainment sphere. I'll have to bring that to you. We'll have to do a show on the young right, the new right. Now, ironically, a lot of their influencers are millennials, but they're right wing millennials, so they're a smaller segment of your age group because most millennials
right.
fall into are Democrats, are Obama generation, Obama thinkers, molded by the Obama I don't know, mystique. And so, but I just found that interesting too, is that a lot of many of them age wise fall into the millennial group, but they're speaking to Gen Z is who they're talking to.
So before we do our sign off, I should do our kind of update with Platner. So this was just earlier tonight, right? When I pulled
Yeah,
this up.
roughly 3 or 4. Well, at this point, maybe even longer. So probably
Let
about
me
5 hours
see.
ago.
It was at 4:21. I'm guessing this is Central Time, so about 6 hours
Yeah,
ago, 5 6
about
hours.
6 hours ago.
Wall
Yeah.
Street Journal reporting from inside the senators' meeting with Platner earlier. This is on the 3rd. Interesting details where his biggest backers pressed him if any additional allegations are coming. Is there something else on down the pipeline? I think it's very interesting. Bernie Sanders asked him for if any additional allegations would emerge, according to people who are familiar with the discussion, and Platner said no. Apparently, Elizabeth Warren also attended. Pocahontas was in attendance,
Yep.
followed up and said there's a big difference between marital issues and sexual assault. So Platner agreed, denied that any allegations of assault were forthcoming.
Okay, I want to
So
preface
now
this.
it'll just
I
anything
just
after this, it'll be the spin of no, it was all consensual. There's no assault. He's just a
yeah,
womanizer. He's
yeah.
just Clinton. That's all.
And again, I want to preface this because with any fake news story, you have to handle it with ultimate critical awareness. And it's Wall Street Journal, and B, there's that, additional, was it sources this time? People familiar with the matter? That's even worse than sources. Are they people familiar with the matter? Who relayed this
That would be
information?
the source. Like sources say, and people familiar with the matter
But
are the
people
same
familiar
in
with the
my
matter,
eyes.
because like I heard it from my cousin, where sources who have actually involved that we learned this a lot. Yeah, according to people familiar with the
Absolutely.
discussion, that means I heard from a friend. They weren't a part of the discussion. This
Right,
you got to
because
parse the language.
you're
It's
not going
very
to have a
important.
whole lot of aides in that meeting, but the aides are going to learn about how the meeting went, and that's who you're going to get
Or
that
they can make up
information from.
shit. I'm just saying. Now, I'm not
Absolutely.
saying this story's
And
false.
you
I'm very
generally don't run with it
hypercritical.
if you only get one aide. That's why you get multiple
Why?
people familiar with it
If you're
because it
wrong,
gives it
there
more
is no.
veracity.
But
If
there
you
is no.
have two people, if you have two aides from different offices, and both of them are able to confirm, hey, Bernie asked him, is there anything else coming? Like if both of these people say that's how the meeting went, you can say with a high likelihood, a high degree of confidence that that's how the meeting went. It
But
is
when they're
in
wrong,
my
nothing happens to
Mhm.
them. They do this.
They
Politico
lose
does this all the time
credibility.
with the Trump administration. But no, they don't.
But the fact that you don't trust them means they do. Because at some point they've gotten
Yeah,
something so
and
wrong that you don't trust
and
them, right?
22% of America, they just did a thing about how nobody trusts the media.
Cool. Well
This is
then
why.
then don't trust it. Then don't
Yeah.
trust it. Then are you
Yeah.
saying the meeting didn't happen? Do you
Oh
think
no, no, no. I'm not saying I did. That's why I said I just preface this with it's got all the familiar things, and so I handle it like
are
gossip.
you talking about
I
this
handle it
meeting
like gossip.
specifically?
Yeah, this meeting
This
specific. Yeah,
do you think this meeting didn't happen or do
no,
you
I
think
would
the
say the meeting
details
happened because
yeah.
the if you parse the wording in the first sentence, the inside the senators meeting with Platner. Now I haven't seen that verified anywhere else, but this isn't. According to sources, there was a meeting with Platner. You know what I'm saying? That part isn't coming from the source.
I guess here's what I'm saying is the number of times things will be corroborated, not just from Wall Street Journal, but from sources down the line that MAGA is okay with, they doesn't register in their memory at all. It's a selective bias. We very much remember the times that a mainstream media source got something wrong, and we don't blink twice when they get 1,000 things right for every one thing. That's my argument. Is
I would
that
argue the 1,000 things right, but that's fine. We're gonna go ahead and leave that argument right there. We'll
right?
leave it just
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
this.
The devil's in the details on that
I
one,
would
my
say they
friends.
probably get a couple things right and 1,000 things wrong, but again, that is probably going to be a fundamental different worldview that we have, and there's just no
And
reconciling.
is there anything that we could ever get that would verify this one? You know what I mean? Like both of
A
us can
direct
go
source
forwards
saying, "Hey, my
the
name
rest
is
of our
Jack,
life.
and this is what I heard." That
Right.
that is what
And
I
if
would
if
trust.
it was a meeting of literally just senators, because they don't want this word to get out, and those
Yep.
people never are going to go on the record to confirm it, then
Then I
we
would
can
treat
you will
whatever
always be able to say that didn't actually happen.
I would treat it as I would treat it if it's not attributed to anyone in particular who will stand behind it. I will treat it as gossip. Just like when I hear something about a friend, I will treat it as gossip.
Gossip,
And
no matter what, do you believe the gossip currently? Do you believe that meeting and the details as reported by the Wall Street Journal actually happened that way?
um, perhaps
Or
I
do
think I
you,
lean more
yeah,
towards it probably being that way. But again, I that's why I just said I preface it,
and
I
that's
put
totally
it on a
fair. Yeah.
ledge
Healthy,
that's
yeah,
labeled
healthy
this isn't
skepticism.
fact. In other words, a lot of people now will hear something and it's fact. It's fact. It's ironclad. Like when Kyle Kalinske went into he's a rapist and or a rapist and blah 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 blah. It's
Yep.
fact.
Yep.
It's
It's
fact. When it's
exactly
not
right.
fact, he
Right.
has not been
Mhm.
convicted. He has not been sued civilly. He has not, whatever. And Wikipedia is his source. Like Wikipedia is some vaunted above the fray source, and not a leftist propaganda, you know, site. When it comes to political stuff, I still use Wikipedia for a lot of history stuff sometimes. Because yeah, you gotta be careful with the Black Anglo Saxons or the, Black Athena or whatever they're doing. Whenever new stuff comes along. But for a lot of it, like St. Petersburg, Russia in the 1800s, there's no reason to politically spin that. But my point being is what I treat as fact and what I treat as this is what people are saying. This is the gossip.
Perfectly
Fact
fair.
is when
Yeah.
someone says this, I was there, I saw it, or like for example, I didn't trust the story when it first dropped because show us the text? Why didn't you print the text? The
Why
original
don't we
source said,
have we
no,
have
we
we seen
haven't.
them?
No, they haven't been printed. That's why I fell for the Blitzkrieg.
Yeah, the
Uh,
Blitzkrieg
yeah,
Blitzkrieg that ass.
he named his penis Adolf, and I was going to Blitzkrieg that ass. That's why I fell for the meme initially. It was reposted by a serious source, and then I dug into it and I found out it came from a notorious shit poster. Very funny meme, but I had fallen for it because I had saw it retweeted on
First
a serious
you were
source.
doubting that the story was like
Because
true at all.
there's no texts. Now he confirmed it by not denying it. But usually they print the text like the Swalwell story. We had every dirty they evidence. We
Right.
were reading
But
the
that is,
text
for the record, that's something immediately you doubted and said, well, I don't know. They're just saying, sources are saying. And now you can mark it down as one that Wall Street Journal got right.
I could, yeah,
Right?
I would say, well, yeah, I could only because Graham Platner didn't deny it. I would just say yes. That I mean, because he didn't deny it.
Right. Regardless of whatever it is that ended up confirming it, it is now
Yeah,
confirmed that something that you're like, I don't know, Wall Street Journal is just saying sources say,
it is
and their
weird that
sources were correct.
it is
So it
weird to
would,
me.
to
They
me, it
didn't
would
do the
indicate,
text.
and that's, to me, it just, in the full body, does that not lend more credence to the fact that they reported on something, we didn't know if it was true, and the campaign had to say, no, this is true.
Yeah,
It happened in the past, blah 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 blah. Now Wall Street
yeah.
Journal is saying
They spun it
details on
as
like
opposed
it.
to deny it.
To me,
Yeah.
I feel like there's veracity to
Yeah,
to the
I'm not saying
reports
every
that I'm seeing.
story is bullshit, but I'm just saying I do
And I'm
approach
not
every
saying you are.
story
What I'm saying
hypercritically.
is because we so often get stories from the media that are true, we deny offhand that it happens so often.
Yeah.
That we don't say it happens thousands of times for when they get one wrong.
But they miss
And
so
then when I
much on the
try to
big
bring
stuff.
it to you, I just tried to bring
Yeah.
to you an example of something that you might not have given them credit for in your own head to go, oh shit, they were right on that. And I just feel like if that's what it takes to get more people to trust the media, I'm going to force people to do it more. Because I
Yeah.
feel like our media does a pretty good job of
But they
reporting
do a
out the
bad
truth
job too.
fairly
Half
often.
this country believes in the very fine people hoax.
Absolutely.
Half the people here
Absolutely.
believe Russia is or Trump is a Russian stooge. All that Russiagate
Mhm.
bullshit. Half the people
They're
believe in
incredibly
Hunter
biased.
Biden's laptop
Incredibly biased.
is bullshit. I'm
No
just
denial
saying
from
they
me.
do a lot of bad
Yep.
stuff too. A lot of
And
bad
for
stuff.
every
They
bad
lied about
story,
Biden to their face
feel
until
like
every
there are
Democrat was shook
thousands.
to the bone on debate night, and every Republican was like, "Yeah, we've been watching him walk off the stage and talk to dead people. Where you been?"
Right.
And that's what I'm
Yes.
saying. That's why I have such a
None of
problem,
that.
even with Fox
None of
Media.
that. None of that contradicts what I just said
No,
about thousands of Wall Street Journal stories being accurate. Like that's the other thing is we conflate print media with cable news networks when that has completely degraded our
yeah,
ability to trust people who actually report investigative journalists. We just say, well, it's pretty much the same as Jake Tapper, but it isn't. Like the
mm,
talking heads are the bullshitters, and that's where we get all of our news now. Like
yeah.
me
But I would
too.
say,
It's
would you call the New York Times a fair neutral source?
No, I would say for every story they get wrong, they get thousands correct. They get 1,000 correct. That's the claim that I
I
will
might go
stick
as far
by.
as one. I think they're 1 for 1 at best. But again, this is a different worldview. This is
We
just
should
something that
make
we are
a
not going to
4 hour
change.
stream where we go through the New York Times day by day by day, and I that would be fascinating. Because I bet there'd be a shit ton of times they get something right. That because there's a new detail they're reporting on later on that we take for granted the fact that we didn't know this information previously. Like it I
Yeah,
guess
or
that'll
they
be
get
part of the
proven
show.
wrong, or it'd be fun to show the times they get it wrong too. It's
Right.
not a hill I'm going to
Absolutely.
die on because you're going to treat your media, you're a consumer and you're going to treat it as you treat it. I'm just
Right.
saying, I trust news. It turned into fact for me when Graham Platner's reaction. That's where it turned into a fact for me. Up until then, it was gossip. Even when it first dropped and everyone was running with it, just like the Son Piker thing. We still, that's what 2 weeks now. We're 2 week coming up on 2 weeks from that story, maybe three. How long ago? And we still have no confirmation of anything going on. There's still no
Any
confirmation of anything
subpoena
going.
being served at all. Hmm.
No acknowledgement, no denial, no.
So
uh,
if it ends up getting served, would that not be confirmation that they had some sort of source on something?
Yep, yep, yep. Yeah, so it's a to be determined. It's Trump's
Right.
Iran war. Everyone, it's a big disaster. It's a glorious, wonderful thing that whatever. And then for me, it's
Even
to be
that,
determined. It's to be
right? Well,
determined.
even that, like we all agree that the like what the subpoena thing is like where is it then? Yeah, no, like that I'm so confused by that still. Like
Yeah,
how does serving a subpoena work then if the dude doesn't have it yet? Like
yeah, and and the
I
one
am
chick who said it was a
flummoxed by that one.
yeah, yeah, exactly. When is it going to
Get
be
you.
served? Yeah.
And that's my thing is I'm not here to defend the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
And I get why people don't trust major news, especially cable news networks, that then regurgitate opinions as like journalism.
Yeah,
I
and
totally get it.
I'm just so I like to have things I can hold on to. So people saying
And names
attributing
on the record. I
their
get it.
names are
Yeah.
on the record until journalists earn that trust back. And they had it at one time. I will say at one time, many moons ago, they did have that trust. But they don't have it now. I'm sorry, and I'm
Yeah.
not alone in this. Poll after poll shows that
Get
I
you.
think
Yeah.
Congress has a higher trust rating than media at this point, and everybody hates Congress.
That would be awful if they do. Yeah. Well, shit.
All right, man. Gonna pass out?
Yeah, we'll be back at it tomorrow. Thursday night. We'll probably be doing what is it that we just said on the right that's kicking up a lot of waves?
Oh, the new DNI.
Yes,
The
exactly.
Pulte.
Yeah, send me, and I'll watch the Pod Save Bros, their coverage on it, and you bring me some right wing takes on it.
Yeah, no, I think it might have been Pod Save World I saw, but it was
Okay,
I'll
Ben
send you
Rhodes and
the
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
I took a screenshot and I was gonna send it to you earlier.
perfect.
So I'll just send that over before I go to bed.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, and I'll have that for work in the morning. Cool. All right, and we'll see y'all on the flippity flip.
All right.
Peace.